life and the hero's journey we all experience. Let's jump in with our host, Dylan Watkins, as he introduces today's guest.
Welcome, young adventurer. Dylan here, and on today's podcast, we have SteveKnows, a VR YouTuber. He likes to make fun videos full of laughs because his gaming channel, it should be fun. His favorite games in VR are action horror titles, and he lies beneath the Resident Evil. He looks forward to the future where he can help live in the Metaverse, and sooner than later than he hopes. And he is a dev by day, enthusiast by night, and currently podcast guest. So welcome, SteveKnows.
Hello, Dylan. I have to match the enthusiasm there for the introduction.
I just got running up, but I realized I didn't know what I was saying as I started getting through it. I was like, I should have read this before.
Okay, this is Steve's bio.
I'm like, I know Steve. Oh man, it's good to see you, man. It's been a while since we connected. It's been a while since we had you on the channel. A lot's happened.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot has happened, isn't it? Yeah. And I've moved houses as well, so I'm not in the same place.
Nice.
So nice. Yeah, it's just the same shelf. Different room.
Yeah. The environment changes, but you bring all the things that you love, right? I can tell because you got the games in the background, you got some PlayStation, I got some things going on back there. So you always kind of feel like you kind of peek around
all
to see
my retro consoles are here. For the history of gaming is behind me. You can't. There's more.
Oh man, I love that, dude. I have for me, what was your first gaming console that you loved, that you formed a relationship with?
Oh yeah, no. It has to be I think it's different. I think you called it Sega Genesis in in the States.
Yeah,
but it was Mega Drive here in the UK. So yeah, Sega Mega Drive was the one. Streets of Rage, Sega Mega Drive. That's like my earliest memory of being obsessed with something that was gaming related.
I remember that. I remember Altered Beast.
Yeah, that's another classic as well.
Right, you just beef up style, man. That is the memories. But it was kind of like a turf warfare with Nintendo versus Sega, right? Because you'd have one, and you're like, no, man, Nintendo's better. Like, no, man, Sonic.
Mario v Sonic, yeah.
That's what it is, dude.
And look who's around today, Nintendo.
Yeah, good job, Nintendo. You know, they're on point.
They were a trading card company as well, which is always a fun fact. Nintendo, they were a game company. Yeah,
they've been around for 100 years, right?
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah,
weird. You want to talk about a company that can adjust with the times, man? Do you think they're going to come out with VR? Are they doing that whole thing? I know the Switch crushes.
Oh, they did a Switch box, like cardboard, that was a VR experience. But no, I don't see Nintendo coming out with VR anytime soon.
That's pretty weak. Yeah, man. They make such solid titles too. My first mind-blowing experience that I played on VR that got me yes, this is gonna be the thing, is when I backed Kickstarter and the Oculus headset came in, and the first game I played was the Zelda. They took all the Zelda 2D tiles and they turned them into 3D sprites, and I got to they ripped all the sounds, all the images, all that stuff, and I got to play Zelda in VR, and I was just it was so amazing. I went down to the dungeon. I killed the dragon that looked like a duck because it's all pixelated. And I was took off my headset. I was all sick. I was like, I feel so bad, but that was the greatest experience of my life. And that's what got me into the whole space, dude.
That's hilarious. There's some updated mods for Zelda now that you can try. So yeah, maybe it's worth revisiting.
What about you? What was your mind blown experience? What got you hooked?
Oh, for VR?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I dabble. I've kind of had two VR lives. One that was revitalized when the Quest came out, and one when in 2016 when the PlayStation VR came about. Resident Evil 7, I lost my mind. I think many people did. That was just because Resident Evil's a huge franchise, right? And so to have that support is I've got to try this. But it died down after that, and then the Quest came out, and yeah,
you lose that. You're right. There's this inspiration. It's all same old, and then something like that comes out, and you're just like, oh, it's it is.
Oh, yes.
It happened. I've had it at different moments. First was with the DK1 and the Oculus. The next time is when I did social VR for the first time, and I met another human in VR, and I'm like, you're a person? And it was called the Toy Box demo. I just started throwing a bunch of shit at the dude. I was like, oh yeah? I don't know why that's the first thing you want to do, is you just want to throw shit at the person.
Yeah, I know it is, isn't it?
It's like, I'm just having a conversation. Can you imagine that in just real life? You meet somebody and start throwing shit at you.
That's a funny that'll make a funny video, wouldn't it? If VR was like real life. Just moments like that.
Oh, dude. So let's talk about this. Let's hop into this. There's been a lot of things that have happened very recently. What are a couple of things that stand out to you? And we'll hit some of these hot buttons and we'll go into the deep end. But what for you stands out that you want to talk about?
Oh, I suppose what stands out to me is this. It's got to be. I just don't understand it. Is the building up of the brand Oculus and then stripping it away. That's something I just cannot wrap my head around. Because it's during a period of mass adoption where Oculus now is like a household name. I meet people who wouldn't have known about VR before, and they're always like, "Oh, when they hear about my channel, they want to talk about Oculus. They know what it is and are curious about it." And now all of a sudden, there's just been this sharp left or right turn, and I can't get my head around it.
Well, it's not from changing the name Facebook. You mean it's from changing the name Oculus to Meta?
Oculus is no longer the hardware; it's becoming the studio behind the games.
I can understand them changing Facebook because there's a lot of hate, but being the fact that I run an Oculus VR Facebook group, I was just like, I was like, guys, come on, can we
the Meta Oculus Meta Facebook?
Am I just Meta Oculus? Just gonna keep on like the Facebook group formerly known as Prince,
Yeah.
So I mean, but I get why they changed Facebook. There's so much hate right now. Like,
that I get that. I completely get that.
Yeah.
It's they started off as Facebook. It was this one website, and they're like a collection of businesses. They're not just the one. So a parent company makes perfect sense. It just doesn't make sense why they've said we're doing this to be a parent company for our future vision to do with creating the metaverse. All the other applications stay the same, but Oculus isn't. They've decided that one we're going to change.
Yeah, it seems like what they did is they kind of just moved around the company structure where instead of it being Facebook and Facebook owns all these brands, they're like, oh, no, we're Meta and the VR is our main company now. And all these other things kind of facilitate our Meta company. It's not Oculus, it's just Meta and VR. And like, it seems like they're trying to make VR and Meta synonymous with their brand, which is...
Yeah, that makes sense. That would make sense why the Oculus hardware is going to become the Meta hardware, because all of the other companies will facilitate the main company, which is now Meta. That makes sense.
It makes sense, but it is hard because there is a lot of love. You're right. There's absolute hatred for Oculus, and then it's like the old sexy, like grandparents are on there, and all that stuff are on that space. And then you go into like the current sexy, which is like Instagram-y, WhatsApp kind of stuff, right? And then you have the future sexy where we're living at right now is a lot of the Oculus now Meta. So I feel like they're just trying to like just rechange their thing. Do you think it's going to ultimately play out well for them, or how do you think it's going to turn out for them by changing the name?
I think it's going to play quite well, because I don't know if it was just me. I know it might have been subconscious, but I felt like even though I know that Facebook is Meta, when I hear Meta, I noticed that I don't have the same kind of reaction to it even though I've noticed that I'm not having the same kind of like cringy back chill when it's being said. So I think it's smarter than people might think, because I think many people are going to be like, we know it's the same company, but there's some smart psychology behind this change. They're not stupid, are they?
No, but it is a very good move of them in terms of like, okay, what are we building? Okay, the metaverse. Okay, we're going to be called Meta, right? Like they're just we're gonna take that front part of the name. Now, anybody else that wants to build the metaverse, oh, so you're building what we are. Like it's a really like my land.
We're gonna
like,
buy you.
You know what they do? They pulled a America move. Like in North America and South America, it wasn't the guy who discovered America wasn't like Christopher Columbus. It's not that. The guy that's actually the map maker was named America, and so he just said, "Oh, this is America." Like that's how that name got to be. The guy who
way.
Yeah, so that's what they said. Like, oh, we're building the metaverse. We're just gonna call ourselves Meta right down here. My land.
They didn't even own the name either. They just did all of this. They didn't even own the name. What? So now they're going through legal battles trying to own owned the name Meta.
Well, they've got the cash for that kind of move. You know, I mean,
Oh, they should be fined so heavily for that.
they should, and they're
It's
gonna
ridiculous.
be. And it's funny. What's really interesting. Here's the irony. I think is really ironic in the whole thing. Is like I posted in the group. I was like, hey guys, what do you think the new name of Facebook should be? In the group, and I got hundreds of comments that was just, you know, shit face stealer. But it was like there was not. I don't think there was one positive comment in the group about it. And the irony, I think, of the situation of talking shit on Facebook while inside Facebook, while being a part of a specialized group using the product and hardware of Facebook, while saying how much of it sucks, is like being inside a bar, inside a factory that makes alcohol, complaining about the alcohol and that you're currently drinking. I find there's absolute irony in the statement. I mean, I get the hate, but it's a really interesting place to be.
It's
look
quite
at
funny.
it. Yeah. What
Yeah,
is there anything that you think, is there any competitors that you think are going to put up be able to keep up with them or anything?
oh goodness, I think about this all the time, and I always think, oh yeah, someone can drop some relatively cheap hardware that can match the Quest, but I find the problem that they've got isn't matching the headset. There's many alternatives now. It's matching the platform that they've got, and I just don't see it happening, especially now after the couple of years it's had to grow and the reach that it's got.
Yeah.
Someone's going to really struggle to organically grow and become a fierce competitor against them in this space. It needs someone like Valve, who have the Steam library to pull their pants out their crack.
Valve would be, I mean, it was neck and neck for a while with them, and they kind of went like high end, the Valve Index and that kind of stuff, and then Oculus went like, hey, cheap as possible, let's get in as many people as possible, because they still, I mean, Valve has some great titles. I mean, Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah. No, but that's Steam, right? It's Steam. I don't have Steam and Valve. I kind of I don't know. I always separate them in my head for some reason because you need an Oculus headset to enjoy the Oculus platform. Although you can use third-party applications, but it seems to be there's more support for other headsets to be compatible with Steam. So I always seem to. I personally separate the hardware from the platform when it comes to Steam.
You know, it's super interesting the way you just I mean, look at that psychology of what you just said there. You know, because Oculus forces you to Meta forces you to use the actual hardware, and you can only use their platform with their hardware. You've made it one thing, but because Steam, aka Valve, says anybody can use any headset on our platform, you're like, well, because anybody can use it, you're not really this company. You're just kind of your own thing, and I can have anybody come in here and use it. It's like by them making it more open, you've actually like mentally have separated the two because you don't need their hardware for their software, which is, I mean, it's just an interesting observation. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's true, right? Yeah, no, but it's true. It is true.
Yeah.
And Oculus have some pretty great titles, and they're buying up a lot of the studios, and they're dropping a lot of all the games that we love, like Resident Evil 4 VR. That is just, my goodness. GTA is coming out soon. I know more games that are coming to the Quest that people are going to be pumped for. It's
dude, that
games are coming.
Their previous move was this: we're gonna invest in companies that show promise. And then a lot of companies dropped off and failed and didn't know how to cut their things and said, okay, we're going to change our method. We're now just going to throw a dump truck of money at successful titles and then pull them off. Like I have a VR game that's inside a bunch of VR arcades. So one of my game titles is in a whole bunch of arcades. So I'm friends with a whole bunch of the arcade owners in North America, South America, China, Europe, all that fun stuff. It's a small kiddie game. It's super fun, but it's meant for like young kids' birthday parties.
But yeah, but still,
it's super fun. I love it. I love
cool.
I love being able to do it. The kids playing the game. It's incredible. It's an incredibly fun time. But I talked to a lot of the arcade owners, and like when they pulled Beat Saber out of all Steam titles, and all of the arcade owners were like, "Oh man!" I mean, it's ruthless, but it's also super effective. So
yeah, that was brutal. That is so painful because it's not just like it's so many businesses are being hit hard because of that move that was just so they didn't really need to make. I doubt it would have made much of a difference to them at all because there's not even an option to like charge more for the license for using Beat Saber. They just stripped it out, didn't they? They didn't let them use it full stop. Yeah, that was painful.
Yeah, but that's the move now. They're like, wait until you're incredibly successful, and then they're just going to buy out the entire company. Echo, Beat Saber. I mean, that's the move, and so they're just waiting until you prove it, and then they've got just.
Yeah, we've seen that time and time again. Lots of apps just going under. Someone else proved it out, and they've come in and just taken over.
Swooped. Let me ask you, what currently about the announcement, about everything going on, about the new times, most recently, excites you the most about this metaverse, this announcement, all this stuff?
Yeah, no. I actually got pretty excited for all the. Well, during the event, I was going nuts, bored, angry about all this metaverse vision talk. But as like the days went on and I was reflecting on it, looking back, you know, I was getting more and more positive about the experience. So I'm really excited to have another like layer of reality that's going to go beyond just what I existing here through there. I can't remember what they were called. It's not the Cambria. It begins with an A, I think. It's another one of their secret projects. It would be some AR glasses. So that's kind of what's exciting me. The AR stuff.
Yeah, because that's what they're doing. It's like the Ray-Ban glasses, the ones that I don't remember the name either.
Yeah, the Ray-Ban glasses are just glasses with cameras that record 30-second clips, I think it is.
Oh,
so this is going beyond that. This is going to be AR, so like an augmented reality, a layer of overlays to your real world, and I can see that taking off way faster than virtual reality.
Yeah, when it's got that frictionless, there's just the it's just weird. There's like that creep factor when you look at someone and you know that they have a camera on you, that like it's the Google Glass issue, right? And I remember that. But what I think is odd is the Oculus has cameras looking all around you at the whole time, but I don't really get as creeped out.
No one's wearing an Oculus Quest whilst going for a piss.
Maybe not you. I guarantee somebody's doing it.
There was that toilet game, that toilet trump golf or something a while ago. Yeah, so maybe not me.
Oh no,
the camera thing's not. It's never bothered me.
Okay,
and I haven't understood it because people are going around phones constantly all the time. Anyway, I don't see how it's any different. I don't. Yeah, it's no different to me.
Yeah,
what's different to me doing that?
Yeah,
to me doing that.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is we're just used to it. We just get used to it. The camera's on your phone. Camera and phone is the same thing. Camera, phone, right? Unless you're my mom, then it's just a phone, right? That's how it goes. But what do you think in terms of like? I've noticed this wave happening a lot too. Is there's a lot of people when this announcement came out, a lot of people are saying metaverse, cryptocurrency, NFTs, all that stuff. Right. So what do you see what's going on with that? What are your feelings about that? What are your thoughts?
Apologies. Yeah, my thought on that is, of course, you think when you see all that stuff, think Ready Player One, and that sort of NFT side of it, I see to be valid, but also incredibly flawed. Because of course, when we start having virtual worlds, then we're going to have 2 worlds now to cater for. Having those unique, valuable items is going to be something you want, isn't it? Something unique. It's even if it's just like a jumper. No one else is going to have it. You're going to want it. But the problem I've got with an NFT is with non-fungible token. So it looks like I've got a jumper, but what I actually own is technically the token, the ID that is linked to this artifact, and it can just be like the smallest variation that it might not even be visible to you, and it's a completely different token, and it looks exactly the same, so it's not actually unique. And I don't know. I find I find NFTs flawed. I may not know enough about them, but I like the idea, but something needs to change.
I'm in the same boat of you. Is that when I look at cryptocurrency and I look at NFTs, I just see people that want to make a bunch of money. I feel like it's cults trying to sell other cults on why their cult's the best cult. and you should totally invest in my cult because my cult's going to make you a whole bunch of money, versus like virtual reality is more of like the sheer love. Like you're not trying to get people into VR because you've got currency in it. You do it because you love the actual thing. You think it's amazing. You enjoy it. you get real value out of it. The only flaw I see in it is that I don't particularly see the value in the NFTs and the jumper, which I'm assuming is a jacket when you say that.
Oh, sorry, yeah, jumper jacket. It was just an example. Yeah, it could have been a hat or a shoe.
That's the same language. We speak mostly the same language, and I was just like jumper, and then you did this. I was like, jumper. Yes. I know what you meant. I was totally on it. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Okay, so yeah, but it seems to be that a lot of people like interpret like whatever they want to call the metaverse, whatever it is. So that's why I was just seeing if you had any.
I've seen debates online about this, the NFT clan. Pyramid scheme, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so I don't really know where I stand with it. I just know that it seems like something I may want in a metaverse to have, so I can be unique, just like something you want in the real world. But it also seems like there could be issues with it. So I don't know. Time will tell. But it was cryptocurrency, I get.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I get that.
PayPal takes cryptocurrency now, so it's going to be the same.
That's cool. That's actually really handy.
PayPal cryptocurrency. Yeah, I like that.
I see. Like, do you ever use Signal? Do you ever heard about the Signal app? It's like the Signal app is a lot of people that want to be anonymous with their texting. So if you want to text and not have the government track it or anything else, there's Telegram and there's Signal, and you can download that. So when I send messages back and forth, like if I send you a bunch of dick pics like I normally do, it won't be tracked through the government, right? So it's encrypted back and forth. And so it's like a private thing, but you'll get notified when new people come on. And so when I see new people come on, I usually send them a message. I'm like, what are you doing here in the dark alleys of the internet? What shenanigans are you up to?
I need to look this up. I've not heard of this.
No. Signal and Telegram are both they're apps that you can have on your phone. If you have and I have it, we both get the double check mark, which means it's all encrypted. And we can message each other without people knowing.
I'm gonna look. I've got it up. I've got a tab up so I can have a browse.
That's how many tabs do you have up right now?
I'm not a tab whore, sir. No, I have 3 tabs open.
Oh, okay. You're a monogamous tabber. I appreciate that. That's beautiful.
I closed them all before I started. I had loads. I'll try to get as much bandwidth as I can for the stream, so I'll close them down.
I appreciate it. Yeah, last time you were on, I think your phone caught on fire.
It was hot.
I know. I went back and I listened to it, and there's some like audio background noises. I was like, no, it was such a good podcast. So this one sounds a lot better though. Like our audio is clean.
Clean. Good.
Is that you trying to seduce me voice? Because I think
it doesn't. Yeah, I'm not used to doing this. I don't normally do this.
You mostly record content, right? And you put it on the channel, right? The SteveKnows. If you're not familiar with the SteveKnows channel on YouTube, it's an amazing place for all of your VR content.
Thank you.
Yeah. I actually find it's amazing. I do learn a lot of amazing things from your channel, and it's actually really, really valuable. What can you talk to me just about a couple things that you've put on your channel that's really exciting, that you've seen a lot of people interested in, as a shameless plug for your channel?
Oh, okay. Shameless plug for my channel. There is an amazing Oculus Quest wrap that not many people have seen, which I made a music video with a couple years ago. So you should definitely check that out. It's a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah.
What people really like to see is video games, of course. People love I cover the big games, not always the small ones. And I try not to cover stuff that's negative. If I don't like something, I'm not going to cover it on the channel. So anything that you see me promoting is often what I think's good and fun. So you can, it's a safe place to come.
See, that's actually one thing I really do appreciate, because it's so easy to hate, and it's just like throwing the stones out. And that's the one thing I realized, like when I put out to the group, hey guys, what excites you? That's what the question I asked you. And it just was not received as well as as being an enthusiast in the space. I was a little sad.
Really?
I was so sad. I was like, come on, guys, we're in a group talking about this thing. Don't you guys like? Is there something fun? No, not so much. But there's a lot of amazing, yeah.
Well, something I am excited for was the Vertigo Games announcement, where they're bringing Oculus have kind of hired them to make 5 more virtual reality games.
Oh, really?
And the 5 games are, what's this? Oh,
Here,
I'll
it's got-
read that in a second from button
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
But the 5 games,
Hmm.
one of them's After the Fall, which is, I can't say, but a video will be on the channel tomorrow or the next day about it. It's coming out December 9th. That's one of them. But they said some games are going to be from the studio Deep Silver.
Mhm.
And if you look that up,
Hmm.
Deep Silver is a studio that's made things like Dead Island, Saints Row, Homefront, some really like kind of big console franchises. So fingers crossed that some of those are going to be coming to VR as well very soon. So that's another exciting bit of news.
I'll take a look at it. I also opened up a tab off to the side, so I'm gonna.
Type Deep Silver. See what you'll recognize loads of their games.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it for sure and see what it's about. And so Oculus basically, because that's what they do when they're successful titles that you like when you can prove your mustard, and you can actually make a good title. That may not be an actual term, but I'm pretending like it is. So we're gonna roll on with it. It worked. So you can prove that you actually have mustard. They'll give you more mustard and or ketchup to continue on with building titles, which is a pretty it is nice to see because we do need amazing content. We always want to have more, and that's the one thing is like the gaming space, like as far as VR content, like it is so fun. I feel like I'm a kid again, with facial hair, playing video games. You know,
In great shape.
in an amazing cloth shape. That's just the augmented filter, sir. But yeah, I do get that magical feeling with all these new games coming out. I do feel like a kid again with like the playing the stuff.
It's great. Yeah, VR just gives a whole new experience to something. I've been saying it for so many years, even before I was doing YouTube, that they should bring these old titles that we love to VR. That's how you're going to draw an audience in,
dude.
And they're finally doing it.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood's done that for years, man. How many remakes and things that they've done that they bring it back? Like, I think
and it's not even a new experience, is it? It's exactly the same experience. It's a movie. It's just, you consume it the same way.
I have
VR's not like that.
I have hopes for the next Ghostbuster.
Dude, definitely. The fact that it's a continuation or a sequel from the originals instead of a woke movie. I can't wait.
Yeah, that's what. Well, so a woke movie. It's so funny. I'm
so insulted by the second woke movie because I wasn't a problem. I didn't have a problem that the cast was all women. It was that the receptionist was a man, but the receptionist in the original was a woman. But they made this man. It was Chris Hemsworth, just some stupid idiot that had nothing between his ears. But in the original, it was a really really quite intelligent, smart, and loved character.
Yeah, and sassy
that the woman played. Yeah. So I don't get why they decided to be derogatory towards the male audience in that movie.
It was Hollywood execs pumped up on cocaine who just wanted to appeal to like an audience. It didn't feel authentic, right? Versus this next one feels like there's a touch of magic to it. So I'm
pumped, man. I can't wait. Ghostbuster. Anyway, got a bit political. Apologies, guys. This is gaming.
Sorry.
Ask the question. Buttons.
Yeah. Button Down Studios. Okay. Can Steve talk about his experience for games that took the journey from SideQuest to App Lab and the Quest Store, like World War I playing games? Could you talk a little bit about that journey that people?
I personally don't know the journey myself, but I've seen a few games do it. And it's quite a testament, really, to those people that made SideQuest. Which shout out, I do believe the people that made SideQuest are British. Thank you, guys. They jumped on. So massive thank you. It's been really great to see. There's quite a few games that are now going through that journey where they're on SideQuest. They get all of this feedback from often the enthusiasts, because the general consumer is not setting up SideQuest and going through trying all these experimental titles. So I think it's really great that you're getting an audience that kind of knows what they're talking about and knows what they're looking for, and getting that feedback. And then you've got this kind of next step, which is the App Lab store, which is accepting anything. So when your game is ready, you've taken all that feedback, you can go to App Lab. And what App Lab then does is, what I've seen speaking to developers, Oculus say that if your game is popular on App Lab and there seems to be a continued use of your game and there's excitement around it, they'll then promote it to the official store.
Yeah.
And I'm just really happy for the guys that are making it. It's like almost like curating a game library and a community that goes beyond just buying a game and having fun. It's like a really deeper, closer relationship to the people that are making our future, and I love it.
Are you talking about the side quests? And then
Yeah. The journey from side quest to the official store. Yeah.
So what's interesting about that is with side quests, right? And I'd love to talk about this a little bit. Is it feels more personal, right? You can.
Sorry.
Wow.
One sec.
It sounds like he has a real life World War I plane flying over him.
Yeah,
right
I think
now.
someone's got a two-stroke engine.
Get
going
into the
full revs.
basements right now. Anywho, but so I was gonna make a Nazi airplane reference, but I didn't feel appropriate at the time. So I decided
we're talking about warplanes, so
yeah. So if they came and invaded, you guys actually had that issue. Where you
it
guys
did
had to
sound
go
like that, didn't it? Spitfire.
It was actually really good times. But looking at the side quest journey, right? It does seem very organic that you can get in there, you can have the comments, you can go back and forth, versus the more of the Oculus / Meta store is a bit more stale. You don't have that one-on-one communication. It feels a bit more polished, and it feels a bit more what do you call it? Not sterile, but kind of experience. And what do you think what do you think for developers is the best way to use the side quest store to get from the side quest to get to App Lab? Like, what are some things that they should think about? What are some things that they should do to really maximize their time inside there?
Okay, well, first thing is that I've noticed a couple things. First is, just like YouTube, you got to have a thumbnail of your game that looks good. I know it sounds so, you could have something you think's amazing, but people aren't going to click on it and check it out if that picture looks like crap that's promoting it. It just doesn't. Also, please have a video of the game that's available. Some just have like a picture of the thumbnail that's rubbish. People aren't going to download it or waste their time with it. And before putting it on there to get user feedback, I know some people don't, but I personally think you should have it at a point where you think it's kind of considered like alpha, rather than I've just spent a couple of sprints. If there's a developer, they're gonna, you know what I'm talking about here. You've just done a couple of sprints, and you've got like a shell of a game, and then you put it on there. Because if you do that, people are going to click it, try it, give you some feedback, but then it's very unlikely that they're going to come back again. So you have to play it smart. Really, is kind of what I'm saying. Don't deter people to get the feedback. You should get the feedback at a point where the game's kind of in alpha, what you would consider alpha.
Yeah, and so and let's dive a little bit into alpha so people can get a little clear on that. When you're talking about that, you mean so one is just the marketing piece, clear thumbnail, video, something like that. But the other one
that's super important on SideQuest.
Yeah, but then the alpha being is what you're talking about is that vertical slice loop, that sticky loop that someone can go on and they can play it, they can play around it, they can have fun with it. Versus I'm gonna come in, it barely works, it's janky, it's broken, it's not even fun, and then you're not gonna get those people to come back. So when you say alpha, because some people there's a lot, it's a kind of sometimes it's a vague term.
Sorry. Okay. So as a good point saying, a vertical slice where you can have at least what seems, it may not be, but what seems like an end-to-end experience rather than rather than like a wave shooter, which is grey blocks that you shoot grey square bullets at. Sort of thing.
Those are it's crazy how the market's evolved since once we got to, because I remember back in the day those demos were actually impressive to get started with, because you're like, oh wow, but now it's so easy to do a wave shooter to get in, and then you just after a while it does get a little boring because there's so many of them. It's like how do you stand out now? There's only so many zombie shooters, there's only so many wave shooters, there's only so many of these things. Like, what do you think?
You got to get creative. The game that I've seen that was on SideQuest extremely early, and it's done incremental improvements for the last couple of years, maybe longer, and it's still going now and is very successful, and people are still hyping and talking about it, is T for God, because they did something that was different, unique, and exciting. So even though the game wasn't completely ready, the concept of what they thought was interesting was there. So I think people just need to experiment a bit more. It's early days, right? There's not many standards for things in VR right now, so it's a chance to mess around and see what works.
So then that's great. Then moving to the app lab, what do you think is the reason to go to the app lab? What do you think would be what's the benefit of going there in terms of like switching?
You need to. What I've seen, my observation is it's almost like you need to go. You need to go there first.
You need to go to app lab first.
I keep getting that. So it's like, unless what I'm seeing is, I don't know what's going on in the background, but from what I've seen, from observing, and because obviously I speak to devs all the time, I'm getting constant back and forth. So what I've noticed is that if you're a studio that seems to have an existing relationship or existing work in the virtual reality space, they seem to be more inclined to allow you onto the official store, rather than you being some random solo indie developer that's created something. They seem to put you on App Lab first, to see how you perform before allowing you onto the official store. I don't know if that's just a coincidence. That's just kind of what I'm seeing. But I did go through the. It could just be they're not meeting the requirements to be on the official store. So you go to App Lab first until it's ready. It could be that too.
Being someone who's a developer, and I'm a part of some like Oculus. I'm a part of some Oculus programs that kind of gives me kind of privy to get in. You're right on that thing is social proof. If you can show that people like your game and that multiple people like your game and that you can do that, like that's kind of that, App Lab or side quest, right? If you can get hundreds of thousands of people to give you positive comments on side quests, the chances of you getting the Oculus store is a bit higher. Just a bit higher than random.
Yeah, because that's hundreds of thousands of people that can pay me for some money.
Yeah, I know, right?
yeah, smart. Unless you're Pavlov and you spend forever and you still don't get there.
Oh no, that was hard because they came out but it's a moving market. Like to get into like the shooter style thing, and then there's so many other. That's going to make the Counter-Strike of VR kind of thing. So it's a really hard space to get into with a lot of challenges, because it's like the military sims. There are so many military sims that come out that just because it's like a wave shooter, it's like a zombie shooter. It's these you can do it, but you just have to be really good. So it's a challenge, man. Speaking of that, people trying to get go ahead.
That's what I was going to ask you a question. It's fine.
Okay.
I was kind of. Oh, how am I going to word this?
Okay. With words.
I was kind of wondering why you think what you might think, because I don't know. I've pondered on it, but I don't know why. Why you think it seems to be that creating long-lasting, exciting virtual reality franchises seems to be a much tougher thing than it is on the console market. Because because you talking about shooters kind of reminded me. So like a shooter comes out, and then another shooter comes out. It always seems to be like compared to one shooter rather than I don't know how to explain this. I just seems that in VR it's hard for a virtual reality title to become kind of a franchise. But it seems to be much easier for that to occur on a console.
Sure. Well, there's a couple of reasons for that, and so here's my personal opinion on that. Is the fact that with putting on virtual reality headsets, there's an amount of friction and effort that goes into it, and there's a natural wear and tear that you experience, right? So unless that experience is something that is orders of magnitude better than the other ones out there, you put it on. You get used to it. Like, so right now, VR people that are in VR are addicted to novelty, right? You're addicted to novelty. What you want is a novel experience. You are at the bleeding edge because you want that experience of something going, oh, that's incredible. Oh, that's amazing. Oh my God. Right. That's what you're addicted to, right? You're addicted to that. And people that are at this bleeding edge thing, if you're like, oh, cool, do, got it. Okay, I got it. I know what I'm doing, right? And there's a couple of ways. And so what happens is that we're on a hedonic treadmill. We get used to things over time. Now, if you take that and you bring it to the common masses, we're like, oh, why is PlayStation a big hit title? Or why does Nintendo do it? Well, Nintendo only accepts high end stuff, right? So their bar is a lot higher to get in. If you look at like PlayStation and other ones to get in, they do have a high bar, but they also have a much bigger market for people to be able to play. And so the chances of if you're playing in a pool with 100 million, 200 million people, right? Then you can carve out a little section and be a franchise because there's all these other, you're in a big pool with lots of people, right? But right now you're dealing with a smaller pool of VR enthusiasts that are addicted to this, oh my God, what's the next exciting thing? And if you're not giving them something exciting, if you're not giving them something, if you're not focusing on social, right? Because you're going to social challenges, me against you, we can go back and forth. We can banter all day long. We can go because we have this social thing. But if you're in a single player experience and you're not doing anything mind blowing, like what made Beat Saber crazy is you had the novelty of new music, right? So that's that novelty and that you're going through it. But unless what is the novelty that you're injecting to these people that are addicted to novelty, and how are you making that different, right? And that's the reason why these things have been that way. Otherwise, the reason why all these shooters have made a lot of money that are currently out there, because Call of Duty cost $10 million to make, and they could build it out, and that's on the back of like several of the titles before then, right? So that's the reason, is they had more money, more resources, a bigger pool, and a marketplace that isn't necessarily addicted to trying to get mind blown every 5 seconds. That's about my assumption.
So, that was great. What a great answer. So yeah, it just makes perfect sense. Like, yeah, that's so true.
Yeah,
it is. Like, what's next? I'm not sticking around for something I've already. It's so true.
It's like watching a magic trick. You're like, look at the magic. You're like, wow. You're like, what's the same magic trick? You're like, wow. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say, right? But people can do that. But that's why the importance of building social VR and things like that is so critical. It's also the hardest goddamn thing in the world to be able to build and focus on. But it's also one of the things that I've been focusing on building social VR since 2016, since I had a mind-blowing experience where I met a guy and started throwing a bunch of shit at him. So I knew the magic of that situation, so I started focusing on that. And that's a lot of things that like I teach, because if you can build a social experience, then you're offloading the need to blow someone else's mind for that need for that social connection. And so that's
you're so right. There's evidence of this. Because I've said it so many times to people that when games come out, it's always like, does this have a multiplayer element? It seems like a VR. When a VR game comes out on the Quest, if it doesn't have a multiplayer element, it's like a week and it's gone, forgotten about. It's not brought up again.
There's not dynamic. Yeah, there's no challenge. There's no you against other people. There's no social status. We live in. This is getting a bit more esoteric, but this is just around like some fundamental beliefs. Is we live in 3 realities. We live in our internal landscapes, our mind, our mental landscapes, our internal narratives, the things that we think in our heads, and that narrative that you tell yourself. We live in a physical reality or a virtual reality. What is around us? This chair, this delicious water bottle, all these other things like that, right? See, this is because we talk a lot. See, and then we live in a social reality, the world that we're creating together. Me and you are currently creating this social reality. So what happens when you put them inside a virtual reality? You limit them inside this. You cut out a dimension of our world's experience, right? And one thing is that we are social creatures, and so without other people, you're just basically you're a god inside a world with no one else to play with, and that's a really lonely experience, So just some. Food for thought in that one, but that's
it's crazy. It's true because it's gone. The experience has gone past this point, or past this level of immersion where it's so immersive that, as you said, that it feels like we're in a headset. We're cutting off one of these experiences that we crave. Because when you sit there and you're playing a game, on the sofa chilling, I'm not cut off from that dimension.
No,
that's really interesting. You bring that up. That's so good.
No, because you're there. Yeah. Well, one, you can talk to people around you. Hey, roommate, get on my way. You're blocking my screen. Or most of the games that you play online, most successful franchises like Counter-Strike, League of Legends, Gears of War, Call of Duty, like every online platform is what? A multiplayer experience. What single-player games besides Zelda, which is a glorious title?
Glorious.
Yeah, so I will give
God of War.
Horizon
Zero Dawn. There's plenty of single player experiences.
But they do it really well. Hades. Have you ever played Hades?
Oh no, of course I played Hades.
Yeah.
Of course. It was like I'm surprised that I played Hades before a long time ago actually. And then all of a sudden it like blew up and everyone was going nuts over it. And I was like, what have I missed about this game?
It's so good. But you feel like you have a relationship because of all the characters that are built in there. There's something on the order of like, I forget, it was like, I don't know, like 10,000 20,000 pieces of dialogue inside there. Like they built that thing out to make it feel like there's people in there, but that's no small
crazy.
order. Yeah.
No, it's not. And it looks like just some small like indie title.
It's such a deceptive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deceptive roguelike.
Let's see here. Let's address what we got here. Button Down Studios here. Would partnering up with a publisher in the VR industry help with pushing your game?
I think Button Down knows the answer to that question. Of course. Partnering with someone who has experience in a field that you're getting into is going to be beneficial in any walk of life, not just the VR space. 100%. Of course.
Yeah, more people, right?
We've actually got examples of someone doing it. Actually, there was what's the game? Sorry, Unplugged, the air guitar hand tracking title. You know the one? Do you remember it? No, don't know it. It's a hand tracking game, and it's like Guitar Hero. You strum the air and move your hands. Playing
that makes sense.
Yeah,
okay,
that's Unplugged VR. So that was a lone developer at one point, just in his room, and then his kind of like video went viral. And then I can't remember. I think it was Vertigo Games picked him up, and he started working with that publisher to get it out. And they got I can't remember Is it White? It might have been White Snake. I'm sorry if that's wrong. Some rock star to be part of the video as well.
Well, let's go with Whitesnake on that one. But look at what you just said right there. You said this. They made a video that went viral, aka it hit the social reality and got accepted approval. So then someone else stepped inside and the label took it to the next level because you minimize that risk, right? Oh my God, if I can put out a video and all of a sudden it goes viral, then you're going to want to jump in because it guarantees the vet versus like, I don't know if you've ever been to like a restaurant that nobody's in line that has like 1 star in Yelp and all that fun stuff. It's like, you're like, yep.
Yeah, dude. When I see a shop and no one's in there, I'm like, I'm not going in that shop.
Totally, man. You see that giant line, you're just like, no, I'm good. I'm like, when you see that giant line, if I see a giant line, it doesn't make sense, but it's the herd mentality. You're like, I'm gonna go wait in that giant line because I know there's something good at the other end. Because if I'm gonna be tricked, at least all these people are gonna be tricked with me. You know what I'm saying? So you can, but you don't want to have too much of a gimmick, not too much of a gimmick. You know, like Magic Leap kind of little.
Yeah, there's some drama there.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you, so what do you think is the best advice that you could give to people like that are looking for VR publishers? And it's a 2-part question, but I want let's answer that and I have a second half to that question.
Okay. Well, first of all, take what I'm going to say with a pinch of salt. I'm not a dev.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am a dev. I'm not a game developer. I'm not a virtual reality developer. But what advice? I think the advice I suppose would be is you got to push your socials and get involved in the virtual reality community. Don't sit in your room, with the lights off, trying to make the best game you possibly can. It's important. As you've already said, and we've discussed here, it's about the heart. You can make the best game in the world, but it's about the community getting involved and excited. And if you can do that, there's the potential for other people getting involved. If it's networking, I suppose. When it comes down to at a high level, is to focus on your networking. Even if you're just reaching out to someone in an email or a DM on Twitter, just getting your name known or eyes on your game, I think would be the best advice.
So that's a great point, and that's what it is. I mean, it's in the hero's journey philosophy this is the podcast with hero's journey and all that jazz. It's the cave you fear to enter, and most developers fear being social. I've ran communities of developers, and we can connect on the topic of the shared like joy of VR, and we can have that conversation. But generally, anything outside that, you tend to like just put me in a cave. It's not ready yet. I'm not ready to show it. I don't want to do my thing. I'm just going to keep building this thing until it's awesome. And then one day they're going to like it, and then they release it. And nobody likes it because they've got no feedback, and then they're sad, and then they get depressed because they put in all this time and energy when they need to do the exact opposite thing, which is actually what you're talking about right now is networking, social skills, communication, feedback, and all that stuff, which is just, you became a developer because you're antisocial. That's what most people became developers, because it's easier to connect with computers than it is with people. But I run a community of developers. Like, I've ran these things before. At the same time, like, if you put me in front of a thing where I had conversations with people about sports, I'd be dead. You'd be like,
I'm being the same as you. You're like, yes. Cool.
Football or football? I don't know. I'm not too sure.
Kick, jump.
Somebody save me. Anybody play VR here? No. Oh no. Do you have a 12?
Are there APIs involved in football?
Can we please talk about SDKs? Anyone? No. Shit. Where's my people at? Yeah. No. Let me question another one. Another hard question on that topic. You probably get approached by a gaggle of people to say, hey, look at my game, try my thing, do my stuff, do things like that. What recommendation, maybe not for you, but maybe for other people that want to get people in the space to review their material? What do you look for to say, because you probably get hit from everybody, and you got a giant bandwidth and you're super busy. How do you best recommend people reaching out to someone like you to get feedback for their experience?
Ooh,
look at that face.
Shoot myself in the foot if anyone sees this, aren't they? They're like, okay, I'm going to message Steve exactly how he advised me.
Maybe not for you. I did exactly what you said, and you didn't. So the bounty. You get hit up with so many people. I know from running communities, you get hit up left, right, and center. But like, there has to be certain green lights. It's like Oculus. Oculus is the hot chick, right? And so the thousands and thousands and thousands of developers going, try my thing, right? And so they have to have, otherwise they don't have bandwidth. So what recommendation? I know, I'm sorry, man, I don't mean to throw you under the bus, but I mean,
no, it's a good question, right? Oh god. Well, the first thing, common standard thing, well, for my see, it's different for everyone, but personally, make it, let the email can be informal. When it's really formal, I'm a bit more, don't know, because it's the gaming industry for me. It's supposed to be, relax and chill. So informal is perfectly fine, but it's not that big a deal. But I have a reaction to it if it just says hi and it doesn't have a personalized name, because it just feels like I've got a copy and paste email sent to everybody. So just the small like, hey Steve, I've watched your channel. I like the way you make content, and then start off there. Butter them up is definitely a good way to go. Tell me what it is. Next is your game playable on the Oculus Quest? Sadly, like, that's just the world we live in at the moment. The biggest adoption, the biggest VR market is the Oculus Quest. So can it play on the Quest? And then tell me what's unique about your game. What have you made that you feel makes it different to something else? Because sometimes a game that I'll look at it, I'm like, oh, that's not really for me. I don't really like the look of it. The mechanics don't seem to be my thing. But if there's something there that is unique, then I'll still be inclined to make content on it, because the channel's not about me. It's what's like interesting other people. If there's something interesting there and innovative, going back to what I said about just trying things that are different, experimenting a bit, that definitely helps. And embargoes before the release date, even if it's a day or a couple of hours before the game's released, that's another thing. Don't give it to me a day before the game's supposed to be out. Because I'm just running a list of things now.
No,
it feels bad. I feel like I'm ranting.
No, it's valid, because like, the thing is, everybody, they don't appreciate how much time and energy you go in to try to make quality content for everybody else. And the thing is, like, my thing's like, and they just chuck the stuff at you. And one thing I want to address that you touched on, but I really want to address this, because I see this shit time and time again. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help these people out. For anybody that's listening, I'm trying to help people out here. How do you deal with the situation? How do you deal with the situation where someone goes, I don't want to give away my secret sauce. I don't want to tell you what I'm doing that's special. I need you to sign away this thing. Like you're trying to tell someone what are they doing different? But they're afraid that if they tell you, then someone else is going to steal their idea, go off, run and make it, and then screwed. But this is a common complaint I hear from developers that end up in a dev hole. They cycle for a long time and they never share the information because they're afraid that someone's going to steal their idea, run off, and make $1 billion on the Oculus store and beat them to the punch. What would you say to that?
I don't know. Like I don't know. How can you share what it is? How can you share with the world what it is that you think is unique and special if you can't show me and tell me what you think is unique and special? It's counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. If all I know is that if someone did that to me, I'd say okay, bye, and I'll just move on. And you'd just be forgotten about. You just can't be. It's not something I've actually come across myself, so I'm kind of struggling really to think about how I would solve it because it's not. I've not had the situation where someone's been. No, I'm not going to say.
Okay, so I've just running communities where I've taught people that build things since 2014, hackathons, game jams, things like this, and there's always
So you say your work that
is
slightly different, than what I'm exposed to because I'm normally at a point when things are ready to be released and shared, and at that point you shouldn't really be afraid to share what it is you're doing because it's already made. Someone else has to go build from scratch your idea, so you've already beat them.
Yeah, it's the time and energy that goes to actually execution is so critical on building these things. Because a lot of people have, from what I've seen, is that like if you can't share your idea, you can't get feedback in idea, you can't evolve your idea, you can't make your idea into something that people want, which means you're never going to get to that phase. So I want to address those issues because those are common patterns. That's like with development is like I don't know how to get feedback in my game because I'm afraid to share my idea, and because I'm afraid to share my idea, I can't get feedback. So I'm just going to keep toiling away in my hole until eventually it's ready without getting feedback. And then they go and make it. Nobody wants it. They drop off and they go to that pattern, rinse and repeat. And it's just a fear-based cycle. I want to address it, especially someone that like you advertise people's cool shit. That's what you do.
I try to. But if you can't keep an idea to yourself because you're running the risk of being delusional. You're like, I've got this amazing idea, and then how often how often you've been like, oh, I think this is cool. Person next to you goes, I think that's a load of crap.
Oh yeah. No, it's not
all the time.
Yeah,
you don't want to spend all your hours thinking, oh, my idea is amazing. Someone gets it, and they're like, what is this?
That's it, man. Because that's the thing is like it goes through so much evolutions with people as you go through it. Like I know, like all the projects that I've worked on, like you take it, you throw it out, and then like so much of it changes because you only get your one perspective, right? And if you can get a bunch of people that actually believe in your experience and starts to evolve, it becomes something that you couldn't do on your own. Like I wonder like how much feedback did any of the games that you love, right, go through in order to get to where they want? We never see it. We only see the final product. We never actually see the fights inside the developer room. I want it this. We need to have this mechanic. No, it should be this one, right?
They're arguing about the stupidest of things as well. Like, what shade of green should the bush be? It's like that sort of stuff. It's
life or death, man. Life or death.
Do we have fern leaves or do we have big holly bushes? I don't know. No one gets.
Oh man, is it fun? Do people like it? Can you make friends, dude? That's so good, dude.
If you have nerdy people that are feeling that way, I say nerdy, in developers, I can say it. I'm in that space.
Me too.
So we can say it. I think we get a pass. That if you just look at the algorithms used by computers that make the evolutionary algorithms, I think they're called, the process that goes through. So an input comes in, the process that goes through to get the output, which is going to be the optimized best thing that you've got. It goes through all of these iterations of feedbacks and failures to get to that point. But you need to be able to, so if you can't put something in, which is the sharing, you're not going to get the optimized best product at the end of it.
Man, I love that you just explained making friends and having conversations as an algorithm. To people.
You're twisting it slightly. The algorithm's based off real life.
No,
That's
take
the thing.
back. We gotta cut the show. Sorry, man. No feedback. No. No, but you're right. But for people can understand it, you're right. Because it takes the anxiety and the fear and the self-judgment out of the equation. Going, look, in order to get better, you need feedback. In order to get feedback, you go through a process. Algorithms go through that. People go through that, and that's one of the issues that, like, I think, like very powerful people or like super hot chicks they run across is that no one ever gives them feedback, and so they kind of wander off into crazy land. And then you're like, no one tells them your shit stinks, and so they don't ever get feedback. And what I used to call it was the drift issue with VR, where you didn't have the external trackers, and so your thing would drift. That's what I think would happen to kids. Yeah, I know what I'm saying. You get that drift. Yeah, I saw that with some crazy. I'm like with very attractive men or women. It's like, no one ever told you need it. And then you do it, and they're just like, oh, you're right. Okay, you're right. Okay, I'm gonna go this way. So, but just not to knock it, man. I'm a geek too. So, but I appreciated that you communicated it in that way. I wasn't trying to repeatedly throw you under the bus. Although that's kind of
no, not at all.
It's kind of been the theme so much of the show, though. I've kind of like this. This is
we need like an animation or an audio sound.
I need more buttons. Okay, so with that being said, like what right now, we have a lot of things coming up in the future, and we're going to be coming towards wrapping up this show, because I want to be respectful of the time. I talked about being an hour, and I want to keep it to that. But on the theme with all this stuff, like, what other additional advice would you talk about people, like, the metaverse just came out, people are super excited, and maybe there's a 12-year-old kid right now that just heard about that saw it, that maybe got the Quest or something like that, the Meta, and they were like, oh my god, in my mind's playing. What advice would you give to them to get into the space? Like, what would you say to
what do you mean by the space, though? Sorry, like, because there's many areas to VR. I don't know what you mean.
Okay,
content creation, development.
By the way, great feedback. I can adjust my comment and be more specific. Is someone say someone wants to become a content creator inside the space? They love VR. They think it's amazing. They're a really young kid. They think the Mega Drive is their dad's game console, and they don't want to get involved in it because it's just for old people. Some dust back there. What advice would you give to them to get into the space?
Oh, brilliant. Okay. Well, yeah. I think a survey said that people, the younger generation, actually is a very high percentage that want to be YouTubers when they grow up. So it's not a bad question to ask. But in the VR space, it's a great one. It's growing, right? There's opportunity here for those that want to get involved, because it's still new, and you can ride that wave and be part of the change, and it's actually really exciting. But I think the thing that you're going to hear commonly from all creators is that although the front, it looks quite glorious. I'm getting free games. I get to review hardware, but there's the grind that goes on behind the scenes, because it's just myself in this room, which is for a lot of content creators, especially if you're not at the top. It's just you going to be on your own. It's hard work. It's actually really hard work, and I work a full-time job on top of this as well, so it's a lot of hard work. So I think the most important thing, if you wanted to get involved, it's going to sound soppy, everyone says it, is that you've got to enjoy what you're doing. It's all about you've got to have a passion for the space. You can't just be making videos because you want to be somebody or get somewhere. You're making videos because you want to share and vent a passion, because it's not going to go anywhere otherwise. It really isn't. The amount of time and effort you have to spend doing something that you don't want to do, and you're not going to go anywhere. So passion and love is what's going to get you there.
I understand the magic bullet is the grind, right? What you're talking about right there, and loving that grind, man. Like I do this because I love to connect with geeky people with beards almost as nice as mine. You know what I'm saying? Like
Almost,
almost. I've been working on this whole Leonidas thing for a while, man. I saw
that Shakespearean reference.
Yeah, no, I was going for 300. I'm not that cultured. I like movies.
Oh no! Oh, I'm thinking of someone else.
No, but this
like
is
a Roman general you are right now.
Yeah, well, I was trying to go. I saw your logo and I pulled the Steve. I'm like, oh, you're right. He's got that logo of a beard. And in my mind, I was like, maybe I can have a logo of a beard too. But no, but really, it was. But this is fun, man. This is an enjoyable, wonderful thing to be able to like talk with you and have a conversation and do this. And it is work to take and organize and go through this and have these conversations. It takes time, right? But like, I love this. Like, I love to, like, this is so fun to me. I feel like I'm talking to a friend about geeky fun stuff, and
it's worth it.
It's worth it. So love what you do. It's a grind. Suck it up. Enjoy yourself. Do the brave things. All that stuff.
Yeah. Get stuck in and enjoy it, and don't have time for anything else. That's important.
Oh, don't make time. It's actually true. It gets you focused, man. Okay, so with that being said, I really do think that's an important lesson. You know, I know you say, oh, it's sappy, but it's true. Like, things are trite for a reason. I mean, you nailed it. It's like, you don't see the work that goes in to make your channel, and I just think it's not appreciated. So
no, some people have something against us YouTubers. Some people
they have against you, like they think you have a easy street, or
people think that commonly. But I definitely have a newfound respect for YouTubers, especially those that aren't at the top. That's where the blood, sweat, and tears and passion is living.
Well, it's the same thing with development, man. It takes a lot to make a thing, but when you make a hit title, you're like, oh, here's an overnight success. You're like, about 10 years of overnight successing, you know, like it's
that's a quote I've heard before. Yeah, most overnight successes took a really long time.
Yeah, man, and they'll appreciate it. And I appreciate that because people need to know that they understand it's a grind and it's worth it. You know, like I've looked back at all the shit that I've done. I'm like, it's absolutely worth it where I'm at. But also know there's more work ahead. So,
but I bet you can't see yourself doing anything else. That's the thing. If you stop, you wouldn't know what to do with yourself if you stopped doing this, probably.
Yeah, no. No. This I love it, and it's a lot of work, but it's great. Like, and the thing is to find so it's so sappy, and it's just I wish I could say something like the magic button's A, you know, but
there isn't. No, there's not a magic button.
Oh man,
you gotta be consistent, and the only way you're gonna be consistent is if you love it.
Do what you need to do. Be consistent. Do what you love. Find that grind. Do the right things. You know, which is generally the opposite of the thing you want to do in terms of like the easy path. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's probably been a couple of videos that you've made that you're like, I don't want to share that video, or I don't feel comfortable making that video, or that like hump that you probably had to get when you came over, like a rap video. You know. I'm gonna check that out now, man.
Hey, really, dude, it's the whitest rap you've ever seen. It's worth checking out.
I'm gonna TikTok stitch it, man. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna so with all of that being said, and all the time, I appreciate it because I really enjoyed chatting with you. What else would you like to let people know about before you can tell them how they can get a hold of you and find out more about your channel? So is there anything else that's currently in the works that you're excited to chat about and let people know about?
Yes, I've got some videos coming that I'm actually pumped about. So I am going to be showing off Medal of Honor on the Oculus Quest. I got to play that game with the developers of the game and Oculus themselves.
Really?
But this player called Ruth, who was actually the host of the Oculus 2020 gaming showcase. You can go on there. She's the host of it. She was pregnant during it. That woman, she is a machine at Medal of Honor. It's unbelievable. So yeah, that's quite funny.
Okay.
And after the fall coming as well. Yes. So some exciting videos coming on the SteveKnows channel.
Is that out yet or not yet? When do those come out?
No. So the Medal of Honor will be next week, but I've got Resist and After the Fall over the next couple of days, and they are fantastic.
Beautiful. We got some exciting stuff coming on the SteveKnows show. So if you haven't get a chance, go to SteveKnows on YouTube, click that bell so you can get notified every time you want to go sign up for that. I hear that so many times.
Smash that like button.
Just smash that thing. Smash. Beautiful. Steve, it's been an absolute pleasure, brother. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I very much appreciate your time. And I will see you on the other side.
Yeah, see you on the other side. Thanks, guys.
You got it, brother. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Heroes of Reality podcast. Check out heroesofreality.com for more episodes. While you're there, you can also take the Heroes quiz to find out what kind of hero you are. Or, if you have a great story and want to be on the podcast, tell us why your hero's journey will inspire others. Thank you for listening. See you on the other